One of the most fascinating cards in all of Marvel Champions is the Symbiote Suit. It's a basic upgrade that can be earned in the Sinister Motives campaign, or outside of campaign play, you're free to include it in any deck. But should you? Is this one of the most powerful upgrades in the game? Or will it be an albatross around your neck, dragging you to loss after loss? We're going to explore all the elements of this card, and then be sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to show you who I think is the best hero and aspect to put this with, and it might not be who you think. So let's quickly take a look at the card. It's a 4-cost basic upgrade that isn't unique, but it is limited to 1 per deck. Now for all that, it better be pretty good. Well, it gives you +1 hand size, +1 to all of your hero stats, and +10 health. That's amazing. Well, it is, but you'll notice this innocent looking little card icon right here telling you that the table is going to be blessed with another encounter card every round. So in solo, that doubles your fun at the end of every villain phase, but in multiplayer, you do get to spread the love. So is it worth it? Is 1 extra card a turn, a good chunk of health, and a bump to your stats worth an extra bad card every turn? In multiplayer, I'd say, yeah, go for it. 1 more card around the table isn't going to hurt too much. But what about in solo? That might be a different story. Now, I'm no expert at the game's math, but we know from Star-Lord's What Could Go Wrong hero ability that the designers seem to value an encounter card at 3 resources. That's the discount he gets for the privilege of flipping an extra orange card that round. Well, you're already getting 1 more card a turn, so that's 1 resource of the 3 our encounter card is worth. But remember, it's not just a resource, it's also another potential perfect option in your hand for the situation you're facing, or at least 1 card in your deck closer. So it is more valuable than just a single resource. And heck, we pay 4 for Avengers Mansion alone. Then there's the +1 to your identity's basic powers. So you've just played a heroic intuition, combat training, an armored vest, and half a downtime. That is a ton of value. But since you're not likely to actually use all of your stats each round, it doesn't really amount to that. In fact, if you aren't readying at least once a turn consistently, I don't know that this benefit is as exciting as it seems. But if you are readying repeatedly, then this could be a major deciding factor. And finally, you're also getting 10 more hit points. That's a pretty significant boost. Endurance is a 1-cost card, and this is like playing 3 1/3 of those. So that seems to more than even things out right there. So if we're just doing the math, clearly the card is worth it. This does the work of so many other good cards that we typically include in our decks already. So case closed? Not so fast. We know that the math isn't everything. Yes, from a design balance perspective, the card more than lives up to its resource costs. But there are also other costs to consider. One is the opportunity cost. By putting this card in your deck, that's likely another expensive card you aren't putting in that could play well into your strategy without the added risk. Cost curve is important, and we can't just fill our decks with 4-cost cards after all. Well, unless you're playing Spider-Ham, or SPDR, or Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, Star-Lord, Nova. Okay, some heroes can afford a lot of expensive cards, but still, it's something to think about. Another bigger cost is the tempo hit you take the turn you play it. 4 is a lot to pay for any card, and you probably won't have much left in the tank when you put it on the table. The benefits of the suit are to be reaped over many multiple turns, incrementally paying for itself with extra card draws and bigger hero activations. But the turn you play it, it's probably not going to impact the game too much, and you probably won't be able to play any other cards. And the most obvious cost is the extra encounter card. Yes, again, the numbers say it's fine, but we all know not all encounter cards were created equal. And you just know that now that you've played the suit, Advance, Shadows, and Under Fire are all right around the corner. So, all that to say, no, it's probably not worth it. If you aren't setting yourself up properly to take advantage of it. But if you do, then I say get your black suit on and put some dirt in the villain's eye. So the real question then is, how do we set ourselves up to use this thing as effectively as possible? The first and most obvious way to get the most out of it is with readying. So heroes like Captain America, SPDR, and Quicksilver immediately come to mind as excellent candidates to get Symbiotic. Spider-Woman is another great host as she has 3 readies and her kit is designed around increasing her stats anyways. And if the hero you want to put this on doesn't have any resets built into their deck, that doesn't mean you can't put some in their deck. Any Avenger can make use of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and aerial protection decks can have quite a few readies with Ever Vigilant and What Doesn't Kill Me. The next thing to remember is this is a mid-game card. Do not play this thing on the first turn. The last thing you want is for that extra encounter card to be caught off guard and you just wasted 4 resources. Wait until your second deck pass once you've got your other more important pieces on the board. This is going to help you move from establishing control to bringing down the villain. But if you play it too early, it's going to be much harder to ever get the board state to a good place. And if you've got a resource generator or 2 on the board, eating that 4 cost to get the suit down won't be nearly as bad of a tempo hit. Another reason to hold on is the 10 extra hit points. These are going to be invaluable when it's time to move into the killing the villain portion of the game. If you play the suit too early, those hit points are just going to get eaten up by the extra pressure the encounter cards are putting on you. But if you wait till you're ready to turn and burn, that tick in the tens digit is going to let you eat some damage without worrying about investing resources into defense. No need to discard that Venom Blast to help get a blocker on the table. Just start blasting. So let me ask again, is it worth it? Well, if we have the right hero and the right deck and we wait for the right moment to play it, then yes, absolutely I say it is worth it. When used properly, this card is incredibly powerful and more importantly, incredibly fun. As far as iconic and popular Marvel things go, the Symbiote stuff is pretty high up there, so it just has an extra cool factor compared to pretty much everything else in the game. Now, I promised at the beginning I'd give you my recommendation for the absolute best hero to put this with. Do you have a guess? It's Nova. And more specifically, Nova in Protection. I think Nova is best poised to take the fullest advantage of all of the benefits of this card. The +1 hand size is obviously going to be helpful for any hero, but because Nova wants to draw into his connection to the World Mind cards, it's even better for him to have a bigger hand size. The more cards he draws at the end of the hero phase is the more likely he'll be to draw into connection and yet another card. Thanks to his helmet and cheap hero kit, he has the economy to pay the 4 cost suit without it being the only thing he does on his turn. And speaking of his helmet, that gives him aerial, which is where protection comes in. Nova can play Ever Vigilant as well as What Doesn't Kill Me, so he can be removing threat and healing all the while getting more out of his hero activations with his boosted stats. Not to mention those extra activations are just more uses of his helmet. And while not specific to Nova, the 10 extra health is also nice to have in Protection as it gives access to Fighting Fit. A largely overlooked card, I think, but useful for doing chunk damage to finish off the villain. And Nova is somewhat lacking in big damage, so that's a nice card for the deck. But the biggest reason I think Nova is the #1 choice for symbiotes everywhere is the fact that he can turn the negative of the extra encounter card into a positive with Unleash Nova Force. He wants there to be plenty of minions and side schemes on the board so he can zoom from target to target, readying and drawing extra cards all the livelong day. So while Quicksilver, Captain America, and Spider-Woman are all top-tier targets for this card, in my opinion, Nova is the best. So there you go. A lot of talk about one card, but a very interesting one. I want to thank you for joining me here, and if this was enjoyable or helpful for you, if you wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing to the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. And I hope you'll join me next time we get up in game. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.